Hello, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you very much for joining this workshop. We're going to talk a little bit about what is the wildlife tracker, and we're going to show you what are the features and what is the development that we have been working currently. So thank you very much. My name is Brian, and I'm going to start the presentation. So just to start, I would like to explain what is actually the wildlife tracker. I would like to let you know that the wildlife tracker is a cloud geo-framework, which is used for real-time wildlife monitoring. It's a real web app that you can use via link or via website. And it actually looks like this one. You have your own controls in one side and you have a dynamic map that you can use. And this is just an example of Azores Islands and fin whales that we have been working on for this Blue Cloud implementation. I need to talk about two things. The first one is the MoveBank implementation. So MoveBank is a global dataset for animal tracking that is actually implemented in the background of Wildlife Tracker, and it can be accessed with personal credentials. And this is good because it's open source and it's actually with unlimited storage. What you have to do in the Wildlife Tracker is to include your username and your password, and you will have access. And actually, the Wildlife Tracker has a privacy policy validated from MoveBank, so we do not store any credentials or any data that comes from users. And the second thing I have to talk about is the Blue Cloud implementation. So the Blue Cloud is an IT infrastructure that serves different services. One of them is to provide a global chlorophyll-a concentration 3D model that can be accessed through different services, for example, the virtual labs. So they provide a Jupyter lab with a good computational power where you can test the model, you have the code of the model, and you can actually access to some samples and test it to see how they actually work. This is how this implementation started with us. And you can also access to Copernicus Marine Service, and they have historical coverage. Actually, this dataset covers since 1998 until 2019. So this is the dataset which is implemented behind the wildlife tracker. So in general, what we do with this dataset is to overlay it with wildlife tracking data, and we use it for different usage. Like most of the usage is to understand the animal behavior or to support the marine protected area delimitation. This example is showing the same month that these fin whales are arriving to the north. I imagine it's July. So as you can see in the Azores Islands, there is not high concentration, but is always increasing when it goes to the north, basically to cold water. So related to the features, we have been implemented different datasets, not only the Blue Cloud, more from Marine Copernicus service. So we have a different catalog. We have a different dataset. For example, this one is sea surface temperature. So you can implement it, you can add, you can select the depth dynamically, you can select the dates, and this kind of dataset from Marine Copernicus actually works real time. So you can get the real location of the animals and the real data of, for example, sea surface temperature. And we can actually implement more datasets like pH, oxygen concentration, seafloor depth. So we still have a vast different usage, so it depends of the users what they actually need. Another feature we have is an alert system. We are able to connect a wildlife tracker bot to your mobile phone, so users can actually receive different alarms. For example, one of them is to understand when these individuals are out of marine protected area. Another one is to understand, for example, when individuals have no signal in the last 5 days, individuals found on land or where they are in a risk area detected. So basically, it depends what is the need, and we can implement the algorithm in the backend and connect it to your mobile phone. Other feature which has been new is the data download. What you can do is download what you have on the screen, like sea surface temperature, for example. Then you get coordinates, values, and date in different times. We are implementing daily and weekly data sets, and then you can create your own maps. Another idea we got is to actually download the map animation, the ones that I have shown. You can download them as a web map. Then you can interact with it in your computer or share the file with colleagues, and where you have temporal control, you have a play button, and you can interact dynamically in time to see behavior. And actually, you can create different web galleries with this. So you can share to people different links for different months, let's say different individuals. So you can start creating your own gallery, and this service is basically hosted in our website, or it can be hosted in your own website. So for the future development of the wildlife tracker, we have been adding a new algorithm, which is for ecogeographical annotation. As you know, the wildlife tracking data is points, locations, and what we want to do is to create an annotation of time and location, and if possible also depth, create some spatial interpolation, and start adding different enrichment. For example, sea surface temperature. This is just an example of how the algorithm will be working. With this, we can provide a download button, and users can keep working in statistical modeling, well, let's say, whatever they need. Another thing we have been working is in the implementation of the fishing effort index provided by Global Fishing Watch. And actually, it has been working good. We have tested and we have added already. This is just an example from 2 months, from January and October. As you can see, this is fishing effort. What we do is to match the day of fishing activity, so you can explore how is the fishing activity in the area where your animal is moving. And another purpose we want to implement with this is that authorities, so planners, can actually promote how the fishing activity is going, depending of the concentration of this wildlife, specifically if they are protected, like whale sharks. Another idea we have in future is actually to keep implementing local demos as the one we have here, like Azores Islands. We have already tested this on site in Galapagos Whale Shark project. I think you will listen more about in the next presentation. And actually, this demo is something you can test. It is in our website. If you just go to our website, GIS for Wildlife, you will find it in the product section. So you just have to start with your move bank user, and then you can see this. So you can test the data is with phytoplankton dataset. And well, yeah, this is in general everything I have to say. This is my first introduction, so we are open also at the moment. If you have any question from your side, we are happy to reply. Or if you want to send a message and maybe you want to do an implementation or you are interested about services, just send an email and we will be happy to have some chat. So, well, thank you very much from my side. I think we are going to see if someone has any question, and if the next presenter, Sophie, if you're ready, you can just share a screen. I will be just here.
Hi. If you give me a couple seconds, I can open my presentations. I'm sorry, I'm having a little bit of a problem, but let me give this a
All right.
try. Okay, let's see. Okay, sharing screen now. Let me know once you can view it. Not sure what happened. Okay, let me share my screen with you. Share screen. It says I need. Do you want to continue?
Shana, I think she needs rights to.
I think I'm
Nice.
there. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, we see the slides in the PowerPoint. You can put it in presentation mode.
You don't see
Yes, we see
presentation
it.
mode?
It is now.
Okay, excellent. Excellent, excellent. So I want to talk to all of you about, first of all, thank you for coming today. And I want to talk to all of you about the Galapagos Whale Shark Project and how we have been using the wildlife tracker since the end of last year. Basically, the Galapagos Whale Shark Project has been serving as a pilot demo for the wildlife tracker to see how exactly we use it to look at animal behavior and to look at how it can be applied directly to conservation measures. For that purpose, I want to talk to you a little bit about animal tracking. First of all, animal tracking is about satellite tags placed on a wide array of animals by scientists to track their moves around the globe. So they're being placed on sea turtles, they're being placed on sharks, on whales, and it's a way for us to be able to study the life history, ecology, movement patterns, and behavior of these animals, for us to be able to understand exactly which ocean areas are the most for use and for their survival. We're also looking specifically at exactly what causes these movements, so what environmental factors are driving their movements and how we can make this information serve for conservation purposes. For that specific purpose, I want to tell you more about the Galapagos Whale Shark Project. The Galapagos Whale Shark Project is a project that started about a decade ago inside the Galapagos Marine Reserve, where we have started tracking these adult female whale sharks that come to the Galapagos seasonally between the months of June and November and pass by the island of Darwin. There we have been placing satellite trackers to see their movements inside the Galapagos Marine Reserve and then around the Eastern Tropical Pacific, because these are incredibly migratory species that don't stay in a single ocean area, but use huge amounts of ocean area. Our goal with the project is the long-term conservation of whale sharks. Why? This species is an endangered species, and it is not only important to protect them for the survival of the species, but it's important to protect them for their importance, the vital roles that they play in the ocean and in the economy for coastal communities. You see, when whale sharks move around the ocean, they actually serve to transport nutrients. They go from nutrient-rich areas to nutrient-poor areas and bring life to these ocean areas that wouldn't have life otherwise. Also, they bring money to coastal communities by bringing in people from all over the world that want to see this animal underwater. So it's incredibly important to protect the species. So as scientists, we're constantly looking for tools and ways to do so. And we found a wildlife tracker thanks to Brian and Cham. And now we're working together to be able to find better ways of protecting them. What we're looking at when we're looking at their movement patterns is what causes them to move. Because when whale sharks leave the Galapagos Marine Reserve, they're not going from point A to point B. It's not the same track that they follow every single time. Instead, when they leave the Galapagos Marine Reserve, they each head in their own direction. And what we have to figure out as scientists is what drives the movements of these animals to be able to see how it's going to change with ocean conditions and how we can better protect this endangered species. What we realized with the project, which factors drive the movements of whale sharks specifically. And we noticed that amongst these, the most important factors that drive their movements are the sea surface temperatures, oxygen availability around the ocean, food availability, and then the currents and eddy systems that work around the area where they're navigating. And here on the right, you can see exactly a screenshot of how we use the wildlife tracker to overlay the movement patterns of whale sharks over things like sea surface temperatures. For this purpose, I'd like to show you how exactly the wildlife tracker and the Galapagos Whale Shark Project are working together. And for this purpose, I'd like to show you this video. Okay, so with that short video, I just wanted to show you how the Galapagos Whale Shark Project and Wildlife Tracker are collaborating together and exactly how we use their platform. You see, after we satellite tag whale sharks, we're able to upload them to MoveBank and then transfer this information directly into the Wildlife Tracker, where we're able to see exactly the movement of our animals overlaid on the different environmental variables that are important for the movement of our animals. So when we started working with Wildlife Tracker, we began serving as an advisor in representation for the needs of scientists, recommending what variables to add to the platform, how we can better use this, not only to be able to use it as a tool for conservation, but also to be able to present this, use the Wildlife Tracker for presentations in meetings, download data for data analysis and statistical analysis, and make the better use of this incredible tool that we have created here with Brian. What features we realized were most necessary when starting this project, we realized that real-time tracking was necessary. We needed to be able to see the movements of our animals in real time for us to be able to make use of information. The environmental variables were extremely important and necessary, like you can see with the chlorophyll, the SSTs, the oxygen levels, all of this information that we asked Brian to implement in the Wildlife Tracker. And we realized that it's different for different conservation projects. So depending on who uses this tool, more and more environmental variables can be added to the platform. We asked for data download to be one of the main features that we could use so that we could pull out the information from the Wildlife Tracker for statistical analysis that we need in order to be able to publish this data and then turn this data over to policymakers. The alarm system was incredibly important for us, and I'll go into more detail about this. And being able to see anthropogenic impacts or human impacts that might be harming our whale sharks in this area of the ocean were highly important for us as well. Specifically, the use of chlorophyll was very important for us, not because chlorophyll is an indicator necessary or important for whale sharks per se, but because it serves as a proxy for food availability. In ocean areas where we have more chlorophyll, we tend to have blooms of zooplankton, which are, and marine life, which are the main food for whale sharks. So we use chlorophyll as a way to see, are whale sharks moving specifically to areas where they're feeding? What area are more nutrient rich? Where are they traveling to next? How is the nutrient transportation occurring? So we were able to see the movement patterns of our whale sharks directly related to food availability. Then there's a story I'd like to share with you. Last year we tagged whale sharks, and of these 8 whale sharks, 4 of the 8 tags ended up reporting. And this made 0 sense. When you see the tag appear on land, you know that this animal is either on land as well, or their tag has been taken to land. Regardless, it shows some interaction with fisheries of the animal having encountered fisheries along its travel routes. So as you can see, these are the 4 whale shark tracks, the three of the 4 whale shark tracks of whale sharks that appeared on land. And the way that we were alerted to what was going on was using the alarm system of the Wildlife Tracker. You see, with Wildlife Tracker, we can create boundary areas where the minute the whale shark or any animal that you're tracking moves through these boundary areas and outside these boundary areas or inside these boundary areas, we receive an alarm. And that is what happened. We saw that these whale sharks were sending signal from land. We received this message from the alarm system, and we were able to actually contact the fishermen that had these tags and recover very special data. Not only that, but it is allowing us to work with the fishermen to be able to mitigate the impact of fisheries in the future. We know now exactly which ocean areas are the ones that are causing, what areas are most problematic, whereas for fisheries or any kind of human impact for our whale sharks, and we're able to work with these people in environmental education or giving them workshops to collaborate with us in order to be able to protect the species further. That is why it was incredibly important for us not only to have the environmental variables on the wildlife tracker, but it was incredibly important for us to have the anthropogenic variables added to the platform. Right now, we're looking at fishing pressure as one of the environmental variables that is very important for us. However, we're looking at more than just that. Any kind of anthropogenic impact factor will help, like ocean traffic from vessels, which is incredibly important for whale shark conservation because of the amount of whale sharks that seem to be hit by vessel traffic. As you can see on this map on the right, we have our whale sharks moving through areas of high fishing pressure. So to be able to see this in real time using the wildlife tracker is an incredible tool for us to be able to mitigate impacts as they're occurring. That was it for what I wanted to share with you guys. And if anyone has any question, I'd love to answer any questions of how you can use the wildlife tracker for your conservation projects or how we use the wildlife tracker for our conservation project. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sophie. Let's see if there is no questions someone want to ask. I just openly can start. If not, Chan, you're welcome to talk about the next topic.
Okay. First, let me share my screen.
Yes.
Can you see my presentation in presentation mode?
Yes.
Okay, so that's good. So now to continue, I will tell you a little bit about the blue economy model of wildlife tracker. Okay, nowadays, due to the overexploitation of human activity to the ocean, there's an urgent need to transform to the blue economy model with marine biodiversity and marine protected area development in focus. And accordingly to the European biodiversity strategy, currently there are only 11% of the ocean is marine protected area coverage. And for sustainable growth, the target is to expand the marine protected area to 30% by 2035, 2030. Yeah. And however, how do we achieve these targets? Because the current global marine protected area declaration is less effective because of the lack of data for management and the updated information for the changing ecosystem nowadays. So that is the reason why Wildlife Tracker exists. We want to be a platform that provides the updated information and data analysis to support the marine protected area management and expansion to help us to reach the blue economy targets. So talking a little bit about our business model, to reach these targets, the institution, they receive the public funding and donation from private partner, and this is the possible source for our activity. So we can offer our platform as a service for the marine institution. Now, let's come into detail about our business model. First of all, Wildlife Tracker, we will give the institution access to the marine protected area, to the marine protected area assessment and regulator. We also provide the access to the research education and even the individual marine scientists and also the group of researchers. In exchange for that, we will receive the service fee from the institution fund or some other public fundings, so that the marine protected area and the conservation community can work on the marine reservation targets to support the natural resilience and sustainable growth of the ocean. Yeah, through that we will contribute to the overall blue economy development. In addition to the user fee, we also target to receive the grant and donation from the NGO and the philanthropy who values our contribution to the marine protection and blue economy development. As a kind of support could be corporate social responsibility from the ocean exploited industry, for example, the shipping and transportation industry, the fishing industry, which cause a lot of problem to the ocean, and they can provide us the corporate social funding to support the blue economy development. So in the future, Wildlife Tracker will keep open up more business opportunity for the development of our tailor-made platform as a software service to produce like specific solution to our targets, conservation community, research group, and marine scientists. We hope that it's our mission to take the advantage of the satellite data and also the digital transformation to support the protection of marine wildlife conservation and the assessment of marine spatial planning, so that in the end we can reach the targets of 30% marine protected area expansion for the vision of global sustainable development. So yeah, this is my short presentation about how Wildlife Tracker can support blue economy and our business model. Thank you very much for listening. And once again, thank you very much for joining us today. And if you have any question for all of the presentation today, we are happy to answer.
Thank you, Chan. Let's see if there is any question. Well, if not, you are free to contact us from our website. We are open to talk, and thank you very much for joining.
Thank you all.